Our forces, even after a ceasefire with Pakistan, remain on what's termed as a hot standby as a fragile peace prevails along the line of control with Pakistan after days of intense fighting. This is an India Today exclusive. Our sources have told us that India is ready to respond to any escalation by the Pakistan army or, for that matter, by terrorists. Here's what sources have told us. That while a pause in fighting with Pakistan continues, we're fully ready, on alert, and that Operation Sindoor is still on. What do we mean by that? There's been a lot of comments coming in from political circles, from the government, from our forces that Operation Sindoor is on. What we mean, essentially, and sources have confirmed this to us, is that intelligence, surveillance, even recon continues right now of Pakistan and its allies. So any operations in the future will see more usage of weapons like the BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles. Sources tell us about 15 of them were fired in the course of those 3 days of Operation Sindoor. Sources have also underlined that the government recognizes the need for an additional airborne warning and control system and refuelers for the Indian Air Force. Now, investments will be made on that front. Similar investment would be needed to further bolster India's air defense system, which proved to be an impregnable shield, ensured that you and I were safe in our homes, we could sleep peacefully, while our forces ensured that any misadventure by Pakistan, drones, missiles, whatever they tried to fire at us, was immediately intercepted, courtesy our robust air defense system. But I want to bring in right now our managing editor, Gaurav Sawant, who accessed this information from his sources for us. Gaurav, when we refer to a hot standby, that a ceasefire is done and yet we're on standby in case there's any misadventure from Pakistan, what does that mean in terms of preparedness by our forces?
Government sources tell India Today that there is a pause in hot operations. The armed forces are in a state of highest readiness. The operational readiness platform, combat air patrols by the Indian Air Force, they're happening as usual because Pakistan is an adversary that just cannot be trusted, and history has shown India that each time there's been a ceasefire in operations, and in this case there wasn't a war for a ceasefire to happen, India said yes, there is a pause in operations. Pakistan has been put on notice. Now, if under domestic pressure or under pressure of terrorists, whether it's the Pakistan army or Lashkar-e-Taiba or Jaish-e-Mohammed, they mount an operation against the people of India or against military installations by the army, there would be an immediate and punitive response, which could perhaps be even worse than what Pakistan went through on the 10th of May morning that compelled Pakistan to seek a ceasefire. So the situation does remain precarious. Indian Navy ships, they are still out there in the Arabian Sea. They haven't come back to port. Operational deployment remains. The army is alert, not just along the line of control where the posture was always aggressive, but even along the international border. But then there is no movement. There's no forward movement of troops on ground. So there is no escalation from the Indian side, but they're waiting and watching Pakistan's behavior.
Okay. Interesting details that you get us right now, Gaurav, of what it means to be on hot standby. Essentially, yes, there is a pause right now, but Operation Sindoor is very much on. And that's not just about fighting terror, but also ensuring that we are always tracking. We're always on a state of high alert in case Pakistan attempts to target us. Again, Gaurav, I'll request you to stay with me because another aspect of the exclusive news that Gaurav got us is also about China. Now, remember that Pakistan got help from Turkey, and that we've exposed here on India Today. In the course of their attempts to fire drones at us, missiles at us, there were drones provided by Turkey and also drone operatives. Now, according to the exclusive details accessed by India Today, China too similarly provided not just missiles, but also ensured help to Pakistan, providing operatives, even helping Pakistan using satellites. All the details in our next report. This is an India Today exclusive that exposes how Pakistan got so much help, and so India was not just warding off Pakistan, also Turkey and China. Take a look at this.
Pakistan's partner in crime has been exposed. In details exclusively accessed by India Today, sources reveal that China did not just provide arms to Pakistan, but provided operatives too. The Pakistan-Turkey-China tango is now clear, as sources have confirmed to India Today that China actively helped Pakistan in attempting to strike Indian border towns with drones and missiles. So how exactly did China help? China, as per our sources, provided missiles and jets to Pakistan. Pakistan mounted fusion operation with its Chinese-made missiles controlled by satellites and a command center outside theatre of operations. Chinese missiles were managed by a third party and hence showed up on radars very late. Chinese satellites provided battlefield transparency to Pakistan, and all arms training was provided by China, with the Chinese even allegedly directing Pakistan operations.
85% of Pakistani military equipment is from China. Second is a large amount of equipment has come in 4-5 years. And in these 4-5 years, normally when foreign equipment you buy, they're specialists, they're technicians, they're operational people, they are with you to help you, support you, set up. So large number of Chinese are right now sitting with Pakistan, whether for the industry, whether for the Air Force.
Pakistan getting all possible help from China is not surprising, considering the Chinese envoy to Pakistan even met with Pakistan President during the course of Operation Sindoor. But one thing is clear. India's hostile neighbors now seem to be ganging up to attempt and destabilize India's progress. With Gaurav Sawant, Bureau Report, India Today.
I'll bring back Gaurav on this broadcast for those details, focusing particularly on China now, Gaurav. It's clear that China helped Pakistan much more than we initially thought that help was, which is not just in providing arms, but in also helping with details of surveillance and whatnot, as we've told you in our report as well. But Gaurav, you know, when we say that the command center was not just in Pakistan but outside, does that mean that, you know, you had command centers out of Beijing, out of China?
Now, that's a very pertinent point and a matter of greater scrutiny in India. India wasn't just fighting Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror and Pakistan army attacking India or escalating in defense of the terrorist bases that had been hit by India on the 7th of May. There were Turkish operators on ground. There were Chinese operators who were helping the Pakistan army. Now, 80% of all Pakistani military hardware is from China. By some accounts, more than 80%. So whether it's the JF-17 Thunder fighters or the J-10s or the J-7s, the J-10Cs are the new Chinese aircraft. The JF-17s, of course, now manufactured in Pakistan. However, there are a large number of Chinese engineers and operators who are there on ground for logistics support, maintenance with these missiles, including the new PL-15 export long-range air-to-air missile. Now, China doesn't share codes with anyone. The question is, was this remotely handled? Whether, as experts argue, through a satellite, through data link, through operators in an advanced early warning airborne command and control center, or a center which was some distance away from the theatre of combat. These are issues that India is still grappling with. It's very much possible India has the technology, China has the technology, Pakistan, courtesy China, has the technology, because do keep in mind, Pakistan does not have a dedicated military satellite or satellite that would, give battlefield transparency. So China is helping Pakistan in its war against India or operations against India. So India was able to defeat not just Pakistan, impose costs not just on Pakistan, but also on Chinese weapons and Turkish weapons. And 2 Turkish operators, we are told, were killed during Operation Sindoor. So this is a big win for India, considering it was battling the combined forces or equipment of Pakistan, Turkey and China.
And it also gives you a sense of what it really took, how challenging it was for our forces to counter not just Pakistan, but the kind of active tacit support being provided by China, by Turkey as well. So not just was arms being provided, but drone operatives, missile operatives, command centers being set up, satellites. These were 3 nations, essentially, who we were up against. And yet, we ensured the success of Operation Sindoor. But should we really be surprised that China is helping Pakistan in this manner? Not really, because China, Turkey, Azerbaijan were the 3 countries, the only 3 countries, by the way, who took a stand for Pakistan. And I'll just put the spotlight right now on what China had to say during the last week when you had that conflict, the skirmishes between India and Pakistan. You had the Chinese Foreign Ministry in a statement saying that they find India's military actions in Pakistan regrettable. This is the kind of statement that came in, so not really surprising that they helped Pakistan. They even said, we appreciate Pakistan's restraint and responsible approach. What restraint? Considering that civilian settlements in India were being targeted by Pakistan, they even fired a ballistic missile at us. Now, China reiterated that they are Pakistan's ally, saying we're all-weather strategic cooperative partner of Pakistan, reiterating whose side they're on. And then the Chinese Foreign Ministry in that statement saying that China will always remain Pakistan's ironclad friend. From brothers, Pakistani brothers, which Erdogan said, Turkey, to China saying Pakistan is our ironclad friend. You know clearly that these allies stuck by Pakistan through this time. And then China said we stand firmly with Pakistan in upholding its sovereignty, which was never really in threat. We targeted their terror hubs. If Pakistan considers that an attack on their sovereignty, then the likes of China and Turkey will also step in, like they did. So they helped Pakistan in every manner to actually attack India, to attack civilians, to attack our defense establishments. So while you're seeing this entire boycott Turkey trend, perhaps the focus also should be on China. We've repeatedly spoken about boycotting Chinese products, about taking steps against China. Maybe we get serious about that, because the kind of information we have about China's help to Pakistan is shocking. But let's put the focus also on Turkey. We've been seeing, of course, that movement growing, that campaign to boycott all things that come and originate from Turkey. But Turkey also helped Pakistan against India in every possible way. After the Pahalgam terror attack on April 22nd, when Pakistan was unsure, scared about what exactly would be India's response, Turkey had sent 6 military planes and a warship to Pakistan. Intel inputs indicate that Pakistan was being given both armed and recon drones by Turkey. That's been confirmed also by our forces, who said we shot down, intercepted multiple Turkish drones. Our next report decodes for you the Turkey-Pakistan tango.
It wasn't just Pakistan. India thwarted attacks from China-made missiles and Turkish drones. In fact, Turkey played a key role in supporting Pakistan's drone operations. There are inputs to believe that Turkey not only sold armed drones to Pakistan, but that there were also some Turkish operators guiding drone operations that targeted Indian civilians and soldiers.
इतने बड़े पैमाने पर हवाई घुसपैठों का संभावित उद्देश्य वायु रक्षा प्रणालियों का परीक्षण करना और खुफिया जानकारी इकट्ठा करना था। ड्रोन के मलबे की फोरेंसिक जांच की जा रही है। प्रारंभिक रिपोर्ट्स से पता चलता है कि वे तुर्की के असीस गार्ड सोंगर ड्रोन्स हैं।
Sources tell India today that 2 Turkish military operatives were also killed as part of Operation Sindoor. Pakistan has reportedly used Bayraktar TB2 and EHA drones against India. The drones are believed to be used for target designation and potentially kamikaze strikes, especially to threaten forward Indian positions or supply convoys. Turkey's strategic defense ties with Pakistan have grown at an alarming rate in recent years. The Turkish government has not only supplied critical military hardware, but has also conducted training for Pakistan's army. No wonder then that the Turkish president has reiterated his support to Pakistan.
The nefarious terror attack, or with the missile attack against Pakistan, we had a very clear stance. We expressed our support to the Pakistani public, and the tension which reached serious levels, and in order to decrease it, we made efforts.
The aftermath of Operation Sindoor has exposed a complex China-Turkey-Pakistan collaboration in drone and missile attacks. Gaurav Sawant, Bureau Report, India Today.
And after Turkish aviation firm Celebi's airport clearance was revoked by the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security, Celebi's issued its first statement. And let's put out those details for you. Celebi in its statement has said that the aviation firm, we are 65% owned by international investors. Now, the firm also says we are deeply invested in India. This comes after Celebi was removed over a national security concern. You had the Delhi airport severing ties with this particular company. And like I said, the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security going ahead and revoking security clearance for this particular company. And it was after India Today's report that the centre took that decision of revoking security clearance for Celebi Airport Services India with immediate effect. The order issued by the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security stated that the move was made in the interest of national security. The Delhi airport soon after terminated its ties too with the company. More details in our next report.
Seven of India's 10 busiest airports, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Ahmedabad and Cochin, all have one thing in common, a connection with Turkey. All these nerve centers of Indian aviation are largely serviced by one company, Celebi, a company with origins in Turkey, a country that has directly and brazenly supported Pakistan's aggression and hostilities against India in the post-Pahalgam days. The centre has now revoked security clearance to Celebi Airport Services India Private Limited with immediate effect in the interest of national security after India Today report.
We are aware of whatever it is happening, and we will take a decision in the interest of the nation, and we are talking with the necessary people internally also with the security agencies, and we'll take the necessary decision.
Celebi Aviation India has a stranglehold over a range of airport services in 9 major airports. These include the 5 biggest airports in India. According to sources, all 9 airports have been asked to make interim arrangements by coordinating with alternate ground handling agencies and issue new tenders to appoint new ground handlers. The company handles everything from passenger services and load control in flight operations to ramp services. Celebi also handles general aviation services, cargo and postal services, warehouses and bridge operation, with access to the most sensitive areas of the airport. The numbers are mind-boggling. In a recent interview, the company revealed it was handling 100,000 Indian flights every year, as well as nearly 550,000 tons of cargo.
DGCA and associated bodies will take into consideration the ground handling aspect and bring in, support agencies that will look after their thing. I do expect turbulence, but I think all in all, it's a welcome move that will be appreciated by everyone all across the country.
Celebi is not the only company in the aviation sector feeling the heat. India's largest airline, Indigo, has also been hit by severe social media turbulence. Indigo not only has a code-share partnership with Turkish Airlines and Corendon Airlines, but also leases its aircraft from both for domestic and international operations. Indigo also has daily Istanbul flights between Delhi and Mumbai. Air India Express is also feeling the heat, having signed a deal in February with Turkish Technic for the maintenance of its Boeing 737 fleet.
Well, sources in the Ministry of Civil Aviation tell us that they're aware of the social media outreach and the Boycott Turkey campaign. However, any action will be dependent on the intervention of Ministry of External Affairs, as there are diplomatic ties involved between India and Turkey. Well, it's a wait-and-watch situation. Karishma Asdani reporting for Business Today Television, New Delhi.
And so now the government has cracked down. Cracking the whip, they've now removed security clearance for the Turkish firm. We're going to continue tracking all the details that come in on the steps taken by the government against Turkey, against China, for actively supporting Pakistan. But that's all we have time for in this edition of NewsTrack. Thanks very much for tuning in.